So last time we talked about the 5 pillars in digital strategy. Do you guys remember what the 5 pillars were?
SMM, social media marketing, display.
SMM, display.
Search engines, website, and CRM.
All right. So social media marketing, display advertising, search engine marketing, site, things related to website, and CRM. So we've talked before as well about the idea of the 2 major goals, branding and business. And these 2 major goals each have 3 sub-goals. Under branding, awareness, you have relationship, and you have community. Under business, you have new, you have repeat, and you have cross-sell, right? So again, it goes back to that whole idea of you lose 100% of the business from people that don't know you exist, right? Matter of fact, before we even got started, Pat said something, you said something this morning about Guy said to you this past week, how is it that you're so close and we never knew about you, right? It's an awareness issue, right? That shows you about your local brand, right? There's not enough awareness in that particular target market if someone doesn't know you exist, especially if they fall highly within your specific target market. So that's a branding issue. Unfortunately, one of the biggest problems in marketing in general is that most businesses tend to focus on one of these 6 total items. They tend to focus more on new business than they do anything else. And the reality of it is that they want to willy-nilly go and do things within all this and hope that it's going to get them closer to their goals, right? So when we talk about matching, ultimately what we're talking about is what is it that's going to give us the highest possible chance to match with our goals when we put these things together, right? So previously we discussed in setting those goals that you need to start breaking it down and looking at your business to say, okay, I need 60% branding and 40% business, right? And so as an example, and then within that 60% branding, I need it to be 40% this, 15% this, 5% this as an example. And so that's how you break it down for your business to say, where are we? Where do we need to be? And which of these things is going to help me get it there the fastest? What do we need to focus on? A lot of times what we'll see businesses, matter of fact, Twyla, you said something the other day that got me to think about this, and I thought, oh, this is a good thing. Because you actually spoke to someone and they said, well, we have lots of existing clients already. We don't really need any new clients, right? But in marketing, that's only 1 out of the 6 goals, right? So you might not need new clients. You may need more repeat business or more cross sells in order to increase the profitability of your existing client base, right? Something that we deal with quite frequently, especially in like medical and those kinds of things. People say, well, I don't understand as a dentist, you know, my technicians are full. I mean, their calendars are completely full. So I can hire another tech that can do more cleanings and that would generate more business. But then the question becomes is, okay, if everybody's calendar is already full, with that, you don't realistically need so much in the new business. What do you need? You need the cross-sell. And you need to ensure the repeat business, right? Because again, that's very much a repeat business industry, right? If you're going to go and get cleanings every 6 months, then they have to ensure that relationship is there so that you will continue coming to them every 6 months, right? Otherwise, what happens? They go somewhere else. And then you got to replace the client with new business. Make sense? So when we're looking at these things, what we have to look at is we have to look at branding and business ideas and how these things match up well. So when I'm doing this, what I want to let's draw a chart. Okay? And the first one we're going to do is on branding, all right? So if I'm doing SMM, display, search, site, and CRM, and then I want awareness, relationship, and community. Okay, so let's look at how these things match up together. Right. Awareness. With SMM, social media marketing, how well does awareness do, in your opinion, how well does awareness do with social media marketing?
I think it's more than, well, I think it's a good, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's positive as long as.
Okay, so
Sorry.
it's all right. What we're going to use, I'm going to use arrows, right? So we're going to have a up arrow, a sideways arrow, and a down arrow. This means that it's good. This means that it's neutral. And this means that it's bad. Okay. I know I kind of jacked up that arrow there. All right. So social media marketing and awareness, do you feel like it's good, it's neutral, or it's bad?
Good.
Good? Why?
Because people respect their friends' opinions usually.
Okay.
And if you're saying something positive or bad about it, it could be either way. But they're going to listen to their social friends and peers.
But that's assuming that your social friends and peers are reposting things that you're posting on social media.
Talking about social media ads.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking.
Or social media, or just posting on Facebook. If Pat is posting on Facebook about his company, who's going to see it?
His friends. That's already his customers. Probably.
Okay. Now, if he's posting as his page on Facebook, who's going to see it?
People that like my page.
People that already like your page.
So they already know.
Is anyone who doesn't already like your page going to see what you post?
No, unless you repost, like you said.
Unless he reposts his own friends base, but that's still within his base.
Okay, but, okay, like the other day, when I put the trustworthy thing on there that I was working here, it went, and a friend said, make it public, where we can share. So people started sharing it. I probably only have 12 mutual friends from her.
But that's the only way that the only way on social media that anyone else that's not within your circle already can see your stuff is either if they share it or if you boost it with an ad.
I gotcha, okay.
So awareness, social media marketing is neutral.
Okay.
It's not really good, it's not really bad.
That's, okay, so that makes sense, like when I said it could be good or bad.
Yeah, it could be good or bad. So the thing is if you're not posting content that's shareable, it's not going to get seen outside of the people that already like you. So is the purpose of awareness is to make people who don't know you exist aware that you exist.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if it's not getting to people that don't already know you exist, there is no awareness. Right? What about relationship in social media marketing for building relationships?
Would it follow the same criteria? Neutral.
It's always the same criteria. I mean, it's
Would it follow the same as in the awareness that your friends will see it unless it's shared outside?
neutral why. But I mean, relationship is the next step after awareness, right? A person has to be aware that you exist, and then once they're aware that you exist, then you have to build a relationship with that person before that person can realistically do business with you.
We still talking about Facebook.
Social media marketing.
So
Yeah, but do I care? When we're talking about relationship, I don't care about people that aren't aware that you exist. That's the purpose of awareness. That's not the purpose of relationship. The purpose of relationship is now to take people that are aware that you exist and to build a relationship with those people. So I don't care if I'm talking about relationship, I couldn't care less about the people that don't know you exist, because that's this purpose and that's this goal, not this goal.
That was my question, is it similar in nature that just that group sees it?
Just that group is going to see it. It's true of any social media, right?
Unless it's shared outside by people in your friend group.
Yeah, but the question is does you posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, does that by its very nature build a relationship with someone?
If you don't take the time to get to know them, I mean, you can add friends on social media all day long, but if you don't talk to them or make an effort to get to know them, then there's no relationship.
Okay, so relationship is neutral as well. And the reason why it is neutral, not good or bad, is because it can assist in relationship building, but it is not great for focusing on building relationships with people. Part of it is because relationship building needs to be more personalized, and it's very difficult to personalize with social media, right? So it can assist in the process of building relationships with people, or at least perceived relationships, right? It kind of goes back to that whole, something we used to have years ago is people would say, man, you guys are everywhere. You're like everywhere, right? It's not that we were everywhere, it's everywhere they were, right? So that was on purpose, right? But, and so a lot of people knew us and knew about us and so on and so forth that we didn't necessarily know, so they felt like they had a relationship with us, even though we don't necessarily know who they are, and that's on purpose. That's building that relation. It's why it is. I mean, I've been all over the world, and I've had people all over the world come to me and, hey, David, how are you? I don't know who these people are. You know, it's, hey, David, how are you? It kind of goes back to that that old saying people say all the time. It's all about who you know, right? Which is completely false. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you may feel like you know someone. If you've ever walked up to someone and, hey, Pat, how you doing? Hey, and then you realize within a matter of seconds they don't remember you. Right? Well, I think we've all done that. Who has the power in that? You or them? You don't. They do, because they're the ones that are being recognized, not the ones doing the recognizing, right? So they're the receiver here, not the giver. Make sense? Okay. What about community?
I mean, it still goes back to, I think, being neutral, because
You gotta work like you do that.
What is community?
Common unity,
Don't give me the word and the definition of the word.
that's how we teach it.
Yeah.
I say neutral, given that you've made awareness, you're neutral in the relationship because there's not that one-on-one. Community is based in relationship.
I say it's good for it.
Kevin says it's good for it. Why?
Because you're able to, community's not about building a relationship. It's about,
It's not at all about building a relationship.
So it's about.
You're trying to relate one to the other. Stop doing that. You cannot relate one of these goals, even though they are tiered in essence, they are not directly related. They are indirectly related. So you cannot say it is possible to have a person in your community that you have no relationship with. That's what I just got finished saying. A person can feel like they have a relationship with you without you having any relationship with them.
Okay, so that's exactly what you were talking about, like seeing the truck Kevin drives and everything around that people felt like you were everywhere. So you're in your community and there, so if you're on social media in your community, it's all good.
Community is about what?
That's what I want to say. It's what
A group of people that can interact based on a commonality,
Okay.
right? A group of people that can interact based on a commonality. So,
It could be church, it could be school.
you Ford man, Chevy man? What are you?
Ford.
Why?
That's what I grew up driving.
Okay.
That's what my dad drove. I've tried the others.
Die hard Ford? You just gonna buy Fords? You know.
For the most part, yeah. I've got a Ford and a Chevrolet and two Chevrolets and a Ford sitting in my yard.
Okay. But you're a Ford man.
I am. The Chevy I don't drive.
Okay.
Definitely wouldn't own Dodge. Just had bad experiences with them.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ford by choice.
I'm a Dodge guy. Matter of fact, all good experiences that I've had with vehicles, my best experiences have been with Dodges, right?
Yeah.
But there's the thing, you know, you look at that. Now, do I have a direct relationship with Dodge?
No.
No. But am I part of the Dodge community?
Okay.
Yes.
See the difference?
I do now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you look at you know people that say, well, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, I'm independent, I'm a free thinker, I'm a tree hugger, right? What is this? It's people identifying themselves based on commonalities, right? So they claim to be part of that particular community. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that they have a direct relationship, at least as far as for us as businesses consider. They may buy my products, right? I buy Dodge products, but it doesn't mean that, you know, that the CEO of Dodge and I go out and play golf. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference there. And so when we're building relationship, by the way, relationship is all about perception. Relationship is always about perception. Every relationship is about perception. Whether it's a relationship with a brand or a marriage. Relationship is always about perception. Okay? It's why people get into trouble with relationships. Because our perception creates our reality. Right? And so in relationship here, this doesn't necessarily mean that I have to build a one-on-one relationship with every single one of my clients. Okay? It means that I have to be able to relate to them in some form or fashion. I need them to perceive us building that relationship, whether we are building the kind of relationship. I got plenty of clients that I'm not going to go out to dinner with. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't going to happen. Okay? It's not that kind of relationship. Community is a little different. So in community, social media marketing is actually good. Matter of fact, community building is the best done with social media. Because it is the place where you can gather a group of like-minded people and have them interact with your brand based on that like-mindedness. Okay? Makes sense? All right, what about display? Awareness. So display, remember we said display is display advertising, right? So this would be having your ad on different websites, through display networks, through those kinds of things. It's banner ads and pop-up ads and that type of advertising. How's that for awareness?
That's good.
I
Okay.
would think it would be good. but
Good, why?
I would think it would depend on the cost.
Cost has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Okay.
We're only talking about matching. Cost makes no difference. There's nowhere on this do you see anything that says anything about cost.
Okay, gotcha.
Cost, again, is completely relative.
Okay.
Okay? So,
It's just giving you more.
it's
awareness.
good. Why?
Because it gives you more.
Okay, but don't give me an answer with the answer.
I'm trying to copy Pat.
Yeah. Why is display good for awareness?
People are seeing it that don't know about you.
People are seeing it that don't know about you, and how does that happen? Okay, how does that happen?
You displayed it in the right area.
When is the last time that you thought to yourself, man, I was just thinking about this, and the next thing you know, you see an ad for it on your phone?
All the time now.
It's like, are these people, are they in our brains? Do our cell phones today literally have a direct attachment into my brain so they know everything I'm thinking?
It seems like
It feels like it, right? It's because of targeting and segmentation. Okay, it's called hyper targeting because you can hyper target your target market because of things like social media and Google and those kind of places. If you got a Google phone, for example, if you have, and Apple does the same thing, most places do the same thing. You don't really realize it because it's buried in the terms and conditions. But if you got a Google phone, when you purchase that phone and you utilize it, one of the things that you're agreeing to is tracking. They know what stores you go into. They know what you frequent. When you purchase things with Apple Pay, they track that. It's just like Amazon. Amazon, when you buy something from Amazon, you start getting emails you might be interested in, right? But it goes beyond that. If you go and visit something on Amazon and you take a look at a particular product, they're going to start showing you other products similar to that one because you liked that well enough to actually look at it and get to the description. Right? It's called hyper-targeting, right? So that's done in display ads, which makes awareness great because I can now get very specific about the type of person that I am looking for, right? And get my brand directly in front of that particular person.
Like a paid Facebook ad.
It's pay to play, right? It's pay to play. And so with that pay to play, the difference is as business owners, we have the capacity then to be able to weed out things that you couldn't do with, you can't do with traditional marketing. I cannot weed out in television the people that I don't want. I cannot weed out in radio the people that I don't want. I cannot weed out in billboards, in newspapers, the people that I don't want. All I can say is, okay, based on this, there's a high likelihood that my target market may be within this group, right? It's kind of like people saying, well, you know, I'm a business, I do business to business, my target market is business owners, and so I'm going to place some radio advertisements, right? If I place it on talk radio as opposed to music radio, I'm more likely to get in front of business owners because business owners have a higher likelihood in general of listening to some sort of talk type radio than they would music radio in general. Got that. But I cannot say I want that ad to only air to people that are business owners. It's not possible. It is possible with display. Okay? That's what makes it great for awareness. What about relationship?
I think it would be neutral for relationship because display is, I feel like, more about awareness and community. You're not focused on, I mean, even though you're focused on directly doing the ad for people, it's not more of a one-on-one thing so much as it is targeting a group.
Okay, so you're saying neutral.
I'd say good based on what you said a moment ago, that it's always about perception and the relationship call.
Okay, so it is about perception.
I'd say good.
So Pat says good. What you got?
I'd say it's bad for a relationship.
Yeah, it's bad.
Good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah. Display advertising is bad for relationship. It's bad for a relationship because remember the concept behind relationship is personalization, and there's no possibility of personalization within actual display ads, right? So relationship, if I'm going to focus on relationship, yes, I need people to see me more often, right? But I also need to be able to relate with them, right? You cannot do that with display advertising. It's very difficult to do that regularly with display advertising. And often display advertising, when somebody becomes a customer or something like that, then again, you're taking them out of your targeting, right? And yes, you can do that. So if you notice, there are lots of brands that you'll see ads for, and then you buy something from them and you just don't really see the ads anymore for them, right? It's because you've been removed from their targeting. Yes, you personally have been removed from their targeting, right? And you can do that with display advertising. Quite literally, if I go to Amazon, if I'm interested in a particular item on Amazon, as an example, and I've got little ads popping up everywhere on this, and I add that item into my cart and I check out with that item in my cart, they can tag me effectively as having purchased that, which removes me from those display ads, right?
Or change that ad for a cross sell.
Or they can change the ad for a cross sell, but that's business, that's not branding, right? So display ads are dismal actually for a relationship. What about community?
I think it's good
Why?
because you're getting an ad out that's targeting a specific group.
Okay, but what was it? What was the definition I gave you of community?
Group of people, like-minded people.
A place where a group of like-minded people with commonalities can interact. Is that group of like-minded people with commonalities going to interact together with that display advertisement? No. I mean, when's the last time you went to a website and an ad popped up and you start commenting on the ad and, oh, hell, I love this ad. This is great. Oh, yeah, I love this ad too. This ad's awesome. When's the last time you did that? That's community.
Only during Super Bowl.
Yeah. It doesn't happen. Right? It's the interacting together part of community. Right? So you got to remember that. All right, search. Search. Search is search engine optimization. Okay, that would be maximizing your website and those kind of things specifically for the search engines. There's also search engine marketing, which is where somebody searches for a specific something and they find your ad, right? How does that do for awareness?
People are finding you that normally wouldn't have found you. Or don't know about you.
Okay, people finding you that wouldn't have found you or don't know about you. Okay.
So that could be good.
So Kevin says good. What does everybody else say? Good.
90% of us say, good.
Good. Maybe you should start flipping it around. It's bad, actually. The reason, a large part of the reason for it is because it is hard to generate awareness in general in search engines, right? I mean, think about Google like the old Yellow Pages, okay? So if you imagine Google like the old Yellow Pages, years ago when you would pull out the phone book, you would flip to the Yellow Pages, you're looking for an HVAC company, right? And you see this big long list of names. Does that truly make you aware of all of those companies?
No.
You see a name, but that's not necessarily awareness just because you see a name. Now, some people will make the argument, yes, but if a person is searching for something specifically and you come up, then they can be made aware of that. Yes, they can be made aware of that. However, you're also competing with lots of other people on the list.
On where you fall in the list, which is what search engine optimization is.
Yes, but that's not about, but search engine optimization is also not about necessarily, it's not always about you finding the newest customer. It's why it is that so many marketing companies want to sell people on SEO services. Well, people will find you in the list. Get on the first page of Google. Well, you're on the first page of Google, which the first page of Google does get 84% of the clicks, but you don't always have control over it. And part of awareness is the control. Right? It's the targeting. And and again, you can even with like Google ads and those kind of things. Now remember I said display is good. Google ads fall within display. They also kind of fall within search. When we're talking about display, we're talking about hyper targeting. When we're talking about search, we're talking about somebody just typing something in.
Okay, that makes a big difference.
Okay? And so I can place ads for keywords and so on and so forth. But if I'm placing ads for keywords and all that, then I'm really kind of splitting hairs between both of these in essence. But in large part here, my display would be good for people that are specifically typing in those keywords that I'm searching for, right? If you've ever placed an ad on Google, though, the problem is if you don't get those keywords just right, you ain't getting jack. Okay? So it's not so, and remember, this is branding, right? It's people need to become aware of your brand, who you are, right? Who you are and what you represent. And so search engines give you a list. And so what you have to rely on, even if you fall at number 1 on the list, you still have to rely on that person actually clicking on your stuff to find out more about who you are, right? That's awareness. What about relationship? No good at all. What about community? Correct. Okay, so for all of our sub-goals of branding, in other words, search engines are not good for branding.
Okay, that makes sense now that I remember branding instead of business.
Yeah, we haven't got to business
Yeah,
yet.
I got you. Yeah.
We haven't got to business yet. We're specifically talking branding.
Yeah.
Okay. Website. How is it for awareness?
My first reaction is probably wrong, but I'll say it's bad.
Bad why?
Because they gotta specifically type you into to become aware of you.
Yeah. See, you're right. It is bad.
Very good, Pat.
Got one, yeah. Yeah, it is bad. And the reason why it is bad is because a person has to be aware of you before they can get to your website. Right? You don't just magically type in. I mean, when's the last time you just typed in whatever.com just to see what happened? Right?
Yeah, Secret Sarah.
I mean, Google has that whole thing where you can type some words into the box and click that I'm feeling lucky and just see what they come up with. Yeah, there is a I'm feeling lucky on that stuff, right? So you can see what's going on with that, but it still relies on you have to actually read through this stuff to become aware of that, right? Again, your website, a person has to be aware that you exist before they can get to your website. Okay, what about relationship?
Neutral.
Neutral, why?
Just because it has nothing to do one way or the other. It's not good or bad if somebody knows about you or anything.
I think it's good.
We're past awareness.
Yeah, you're right.
You're past awareness. Stop linking these together.
I think it's good.
Good, why?
Because if you're building a relationship with somebody, you're going to tell them, hey, here's my website, go check it out. Or,
Okay, you're kind of right. Not fully, but you're kind of right.
You're better than us.
They're already at your site.
If you're already at your site, is that the scenario we're in?
Is a website good for building a relationship?
yes,
That's the question.
see who you
If
are.
they're aware of you, not linking them together, but yes, I'd say yes.
Why?
Because now they can look and see product reviews, they can see other people, there's.
If you have product reviews on there, if you have testimonials on there. But that's not really giving me the why. I mean, you guys are thinking way too hard about this. Yes, it is good for a relationship.
Because the perception's there.
Nope. Because of the fact, and this is where most people screwed up with websites. Because the main goal of a website is to build a relationship with a person. Is to be able to interact in such a way with that person who is aware that you exist, to be able to build a relationship, in essence, the start of a relationship with your brand.
Okay. Okay, just, y'all know how technically challenged I am. I'm gonna work on this. But are you talking about like if you ask a question to a website, so you're building that relationship?
I'm not talking about that.
Okay, you're just talking about branding, okay.
If I meet Joe Blow on the street, how do I build a relationship with Joe Blow on the street? What's the first steps to building a relationship with someone?
Introduce yourself and make them aware of who you are.
Okay, but awareness has already happened. What's the first steps to building a relationship with someone?
Once he's aware,
Staying in touch.
content.
You guys have no friends whatsoever?
No, I've got one, but he's paid.
Staying in touch with them.
Yeah.
Why would I stay in touch with you?
Conversation.
Conversation, okay. Conversation that starts around
Common interest.
commonalities. How do you build a relationship with someone? The first thing you do when you're building a relationship with someone is you look for common interests, right?
Right.
So a person goes to your website. Why do they go to your website?
Because they're interested in what you're doing.
Because there's something that you do that's of interest to them, right? So if that is the case, how do you build a relationship with a website? You expand on that common interest,
Okay.
right?
So that links it to community.
Not necessarily.
Don't link things past.
Stop linking.
Well, just listening to the words.
Common interest and common group are two different things. Community has to have common interest.
Yeah.
But community is about a group of people. A relationship is about an individual.
Okay.
Individuals make up part of a group, but just because it's an individual does not make it a group.
Root words killed it. Commonality's got me.
Stop it.
That's what I do.
Well, that's why you define the answer with the answer, right? With the question. Yeah. It's good because the number one purpose of a website is to build a relationship with someone who's become aware of your brand. It's to also to continue a relationship with someone who's doing business with your brand. If your website is not doing that, then there's a problem with your website. It's what it is if you look at our marketing website, right? We get some people that look at it and they hate it. They're, oh, this is terrible, horrible, right? And then you get some people. As a matter of fact, we get I get quite frequently messages from people that, oh, we love your website. It's so helpful. I mean, it's like giving us what we need, right? Because when we built the website, the way we built it was we built it based on you've got problems in your business. Marketing shouldn't be one of those problems, right? It specifically says that. And so here's the deal. You can go on there. You can click the help button at any time. Or you can scroll down on the homepage. And there's a series of questions, right? And so the goal is, matter of fact, the part of the goal is to help you with this. All right? And so the goal is to have that person who's struggling with something be able to go through some steps without having to deal with salespeople, without having to deal with marketing people, without having to deal with all this junk that they're fearful of, and be able to walk through step by step. This is my situation. These are what potential solutions are available for me based on my situation. So if I'm dealing with business owners who are stressed out because they're trying to grow their business and they're not really sure if what they're doing is right, they don't really know what to do, they don't have any concept of what's going on, so on and so forth, those people love it. But that's the target market, right? So do I really care whether the people that are not in my target market love it like I hate it? Don't care at all. And so every single person, by the way, that has said something negative about it has been completely outside our target market. So do I care?
No.
Not at all.
Let's have to see.
Because the people within the target market are saying they like it, right? That's the goal. But that's the whole point of site in relationship, is to realistically be able to build some sort of relationship, perceived or real, within your target market. What about community? Neutral? Why?
Because it's not building a relationship. I mean, it's a place where people can go. I mean, there's places where if you've got a blog on there,
If you have a blog.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, lots of websites don't.
That's just because they're about websites.
Called you out, called me out too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how are you going to become the expert in the field or solve a problem with somebody if you don't have a blog about
Been
it?
taking notes in.
He's been taking notes. Yes, he has.
Been taking
Yeah, website is typically is bad for community. Typically is bad for community. The difference for most businesses would be if they build their website specifically for the purposes of being able to interact with groups of people, right? So if I'm building a blog type website, so a lot of e-commerce websites are really bad for community. A lot of your standardized websites are really bad for community. Some blog websites are good for community, but the challenge is that even though your goal with a blog type website or posting blog articles is for some people is to get people interacting on that, commenting on the posts and so on and so forth. The reality of it is that those things are better pushed to social media and have them interacting on that platform, because it can, through sharing and so on and so forth, it has the possibility of going viral. And with that possibility of going viral, it then has the ability to be able to exponentially increase community. A blog article really can't do that, okay? Now, you can share the blog article on social media. And it's repurposing content, absolutely. So you can share the blog article on social media. The purpose of the blog article, though, as Kevin said, is to build expertise, authority, credibility. It's to build those kind of things. And you want to build it in such a way. Now, if I'm going to build expertise, credibility, authority, so on and so forth, and I just said that a website is bad for awareness, what does that mean?
If you're looking to do only awareness, but,
If I want to build authority, credibility, so on and so forth, and I want to build my business, but a website itself is bad for awareness, what does it mean?
It means that only the people who know about you are going to see it,
Unless
unless you use social media.
They share, they tell two friends.
So effectively what it is it's I'm building authority, credibility, awareness, and so on and so forth based on the content that I post on my site. But just posting content on your site is not going to do anything for you. It's how you then distribute it after you post it is the important part for what you want to accomplish.
makes sense, makes a lot of sense.
Okay? The posting it on your site effectively is to link back to the site, to draw those people to the site because of relationship. Right? So the purpose of a blog article is to build relationship, interestingly enough, but it's really bad at awareness. So what do we have to do? We can use display ads to get it in front of people for awareness. It's really good for relationship, but I can use it then on social media, because remember, social media is typically neutral, but neutral doesn't mean good, it doesn't mean bad, it's all about how you do it, right? So in other words, I don't realistically, if I'm posting a blog article, there may be some traffic over time through search. Okay, search engine marketing, I can SEO optimize that article and so on and so forth. There may be some traffic through that, but am I going to open the floodgates? No. The only way to open the floodgates is through using techniques. It's a combination of techniques.
So I have to use display for awareness, site for relation, and SEM, social for community.
In this scenario, yes. What about CRM? How is it for awareness? Terrible. Yes, it is horrid for awareness. Why?
They don't know you exist.
They don't know you exist. How are they going to get on your email list? Right? Now, again, the argument can be made, well, people can share your email with someone else and they can become aware of you. Can you control that? No. Marketing is about control. Right? You cannot control it. We can hope for it. In a perfect world, it would happen. But it kind of goes back to that. We hear businesses all the time that say, well, David, I get most of my business by word of mouth. Okay, so you're saying you don't really do all that much business. Or you're stinking awesome at what you do and you've never needed to advertise because everybody just flocks to you just because. Oh.
Because they got a cool logo.
Yeah. more often than not, it's they don't know what to do. And so what business they've been getting is more happenstance than it is by control. Even with word of mouth business, that's one of the things that I talk about all the time. Word of mouth business is about control. I need to control the word of mouth. Because a person is 20 times more likely to say something negative than they are to say something positive, right? And so if people are out there talking about my business and one person has a bad experience, then I have to have 20 people out there talking about a good experience just to offset the one, right? So I need to be able to control that. So CRM is bad for awareness. What about relationship? Good. Yes. The main purpose of CRM is relationship. This is the main purpose because of the propensity for personalization. Right? What about community?
Neutral or bad?
Why?
I'd say that because of the fact that it's one person, about individuals.
There you go. It's one-to-one. Community, remember, is about groups interacting together, right? So CRM is bad for community because of the fact that it's one-to-one. It kind of goes back. I mean, again, you think about community, you think about all these weirdos out there, right? You got the Coach Purse people, the Michael Kors type people, and all that. I have the newest and latest, greatest Michael Kors watch. Have you seen this, by the way, this new Michael Kors watch? It's like an Apple Watch, but it's just like designer Apple Watch and does all this weird fancy stuff. And they're like $500 a piece for these watches. But it's, people buy it because it's Michael Kors. It's because of community, right? Why do people buy Patron tequila?
The name, the brand.
The brand, because they feel, again, part of that Patron community. It was a failing business because it was the most disgusting tequila anybody had ever tasted. Nobody has changed the tequila itself. It's the same disgusting tequila it has always been, but the branding around it has created enough of a community to turn it into one of the top sellers. That's it.
Stupid expensive for it too.
Yeah. You're paying 5 times the price you used to pay for the same disgusting tequila with a different bottle.
That's good marketing.
That's good marketing. Yes, it is. Okay?
There's songs about it.
Yes, there are. All right, let's talk business. We get over here, awareness, relation and community. And then we have SMM, display, search, site, CRM. Okay, what's the difference between branding and business again?
Branding is getting your name out there.
Branding is more about how people perceive your company, right? Business is about what?
Generating profit.
It's RGAs, revenue generating activities, right? So business is more about the making of the sales, generating of the actual customers. Branding is more about the perception, okay? This is why you have to do both, because there has to be a positive perception for people to do business with you, okay? All right, SMM, in business, or what did I do? Awareness, relation, community. I did that again, didn't I? That's not business goals, sorry. I'm over here stuck in branding. New sell, repeat sell, cross sell. All right, social media marketing. How is it for new sales?
Good,
Good. Why?
because you're paying per click to get seen by people who wouldn't.
Because part of social media marketing is social media advertising specific to social media. Remember, some of these have crossover, right? Some of these will have crossover. So Facebook ads also kind of fall into display, but they're not specific to display, right? So again, social media marketing is, geez Louise, is good. for new sales. Social media marketing for repeat sale, how is it?
Yeah, I don't see it as bad. I mean,
It's bad, actually.
I see it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I-
bad for repeat sales.
Well, no, let's say that.
It's also bad for cross sell, and for the same reason. Why?
Because it depends on
You've already
the
sold
free,
them.
you sold them once and, yeah, and you got to.
Yeah. The intent of social media marketing, in business, the intent of social media marketing is to pick up the new customer. Right? So it's not to remarket to the existing customers. There we go. Right? So, display, new business.
Wait a minute,
Yes,
cross-sell.
cross sell.
With the new chatbot stuff though, would the cross-sell not be, would it?
But that's the chatbot stuff is not social media marketing. That's actually CRM. Chatbots are CRM, not social media. You get to them through a social media, but it's not a social media in and of itself. Why?
Because it now has the interaction of it.
It's one-to-one. Social media is one-to-many.
That makes sense.
Okay? What about display? New business.
Good. Yeah, good for new sales.
It's the point of display. All right? It's the main thing.
I got one about a month ago. Like create my page that says we're down, we need you back.
What about repeat sale?
Here I go linking.
Neutral?
Yeah, I'm with Kevin on this one, neutral.
Okay, neutral. Seven, what you got?
Does it go into the?
I kind of think that display, you're talking about ads and.
Yep. So what we're talking about is repeat sales. So you're seeing ads everywhere you turn around.
I'd say bad.
It's bad.
It's
I mean,
bad.
They already know.
Yeah. For the same reason as new sale, in reality. Cross sell is also bad. So if you're trying to get more sales from your existing customers, whether it's a repeat sale or a cross sell, display advertising is not the way to do it. Okay? Display advertising as far as business is concerned. So as we see, display advertising in and of itself is only good for two things: awareness and new sales. So if you're not worried about awareness and you're not worried about new sales, then you should not be doing display advertising. If those are not your biggest concerns in your business, you should not be doing display advertising. That's what it tells you. Right?
I should be doing display, well, I guess it goes back to the balance.
Goes back to the balance of what are your percentages over here, right?
I should be doing that, but I need better CRM, better content in CRM to actually have the relationship.
Right. What about search for new sales?
Neutral?
Neutral. Why?
Because you're not necessarily gonna be getting a lot of new business out of it, but you will occasionally when somebody runs across you.
Yes, it is neutral.
I agree with that, because I did, that's that long, we'll have like two.
Okay. It is neutral. And the reason why it is neutral is because of the level of difficulty of control, right? Think back to that search engine optimization stuff that we talked about, right? So the point of search engine optimization is to optimize your website in such a way so when people search for a specific thing, they find you, right? Where does the problem lie with that?
They have to be real specific.
Okay, they have to be specific. That's part of it. But what else?
You're competing with everybody else on the front page.
You're competing with everybody else that's ranking for those specific workings, and you have no control over the search engine algorithms. They can change those at any point, which changes your rankings.
Okay, so like for the yellow pages where they want AAA, triple A.
Like with the old printed book, yeah. If you were Aardvark, if you were Aardvark HVAC, you're good because you were number one. People actually literally used to name their businesses to get ranking in the old school phone book, right? It was the
I had somebody do that started a business about 5 years ago that was older. I thought it doesn't matter anymore.
yeah, it makes no difference whatsoever anymore. Nobody cares. Yeah. What about repeat sales?
No.
Why?
Own business is the same thing as the other two. Is the, social media and display, well,
You already got it.
the search engine. Oh, wait a minute, it could be good because now they know where you are.
It's good for both repeat sales and cross sales, interestingly enough. Because remember, you have brand awareness. You have some semblance of relationship because they bought from you before. But have you ever had a situation where you bought something somewhere and you couldn't remember, you knew it and it was good, but you couldn't remember quite where, so you get on Google and you start looking for that company?
Yes. Most definitely.
That's that. Right? So it is good for repeat sales. It is good for cross sales. What about site? New sales. Website.
Neutral or bad?
It's neutral. Why?
They're gonna specifically find you, yeah.
Okay.
They have to type you in direct.
Okay. Your website has to be able to close deals too, right? Your website has to be able to close deals as well. I mean, that's something that we dealt with the other day. It's one of the reasons why we fired one of our clients, because he was paying us to get this for display ads and to get traffic and so on and so forth, and he was getting all kinds of traffic. He did not pay us to do anything with his website, even though I made recommendations on it. His website could not close the deal, and he kept constantly griping about the quality of leads. It wasn't the quality of leads, it was the quality of his site. Right? So if you have good enough quality of your site and it can sell, then it can be good for new sale. But you have to drive the traffic there. If from the awareness, right? And from the relationship, you have to drive traffic there. So social media and display can get new sales off of them. They can also drive traffic to your site to get the new sales, right? If you're just, again, this is not Field of Dreams. This is not if you build it, they will come. Just because you build a website doesn't mean anyone will ever visit the website, right? So you have to drive people to it in order to make the sales. If you don't drive people to it, you will not make the sales. What about repeat sell and cross sell?
Yes.
I'm with
Well, it depends on if you sell, like with Pat, you probably have inventory on your website, right?
Yes, probably.
Okay. I mean, like us, we don't. It's just, here's what we do. It's a service. So I guess I would have to say.
So websites historically are good for repeat sales. They're not good for cross sales. Historically speaking, yes. A lot of it has to do, I mean, you remember until Amazon came about, there was no people who bought this may also be interested in this, or you've purchased this, so you may also be interested in this. And so as far as cross sales go, and you know as well as I do from your own website, you have to program that stuff in, right? Related items. So if you're going to get cross sales out of the website itself, then you're going to need to do something specific to try to get anything out of it, right? The website itself is good for repeat sales because people keep thinking about this is where I bought this, this is where I bought this. So they go back there to buy more of it. But as far as buying something different, unless you spend hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising like Amazon, it's not great for cross sales. What about CRM?
New sell bad.
Good for repeat sale.
It's actually neutral for new sale. It's neutral for new sale. But again, it's neutral for new sale because that is dependent upon other factors, right? In fact, email marketing is great for new sales if you drive the traffic, you drive the email signups to it of highly targeted people. So remember, this is why it's neutral, because you have to drive the highly targeted people and be able to close through that. If you don't do that, it's going to be very bad. So it can be really good, it can be really bad. There's not a lot of in between.
So I've captured their emails, drive them, and I have good content.
You have good content, you have all of your materials are well written, and again, it's highly targeted, and you're utilizing things like tags and so on and so forth, interests and all that to be able to drive the traffic specifically for that, then it can be good.
That's the challenge.
That's why it's neutral. That's why it's neutral, because that's the challenge.
Yeah, that catch you in the corner.
What about repeat sell and cross sell?
Repeat sale, if content's structured right, I'd say it's good for repeat sale.
Okay, what about cross sell?
Neutral or good?
Actually, CRM is best for repeat sales and cross sales. Okay? CRM is best for both repeat sales and cross sales. Okay? So based on my targets, based on my goals, so on and so forth, if my goal is awareness and new sales, and I look over here, awareness, display, new sale, display, and social media marketing, more social media ads, then that's where I'm going to put a chunk of my money and my time. Right? If I need to get repeat business out of my existing customers, I need to spend more time and effort on search, site, and CRM.
That's where I'm at. But percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise. Right. It's all about the percentages. So again, that's why you want to align percentages to these things based on what your business needs are. Now, every business needs some of all of these effectively.
And they're going to change.
Yeah, but it's a fluctuating number, which is why you do marketing reviews. You should do marketing reviews at least once a year, right? Because these are going to change. There will be times where you don't really need new customers right now. You need to focus on the people you already got, right? There will be times where you're not worried about having more awareness right now. You need to build more of that community around your brand. Right? So it's a matter of altering my percentages that I'm applying towards these things specifically for that purpose. Make sense? Do that. Now you're really starting to get your strategy built out so that I can say this is what's going to be best for my business.